I trust this will suffice.
God smiles upon the generous.
Oh, away with you! Back to your cesspit, beggar! A land grotesque as its people. You dreamt of utopia. You saw the tribes united as one.
Oh.
That dream died long ago. You should have done the same. Your kingdom will perish alongside you. By my hand.
I cannot fathom it. His Majesty killed in his own bed.
The blooms upon the prince's grave had yet to wilt. Without an heir to wear the crown, what will become of the royal magic?
Thus vulnerable, an invasion might undo us.
From within or without, the state hangs on a precipice. It may even come to civil war.
In dark times, we must stand together.
Your Eminence!
Who could do this?
Few could even enter the king's chambers, let alone draw close. And yet,
His Majesty's arcane power could deflect near any blade. With all the royal bloodline's magic, who could harm him at all? Shadows stir in the castle just as they did with the prince. What hellbound soul could end a royal life? Who would dare such atrocity? Huh?
Luis.
A shame to die with no heirs. The prince was taken too soon. And only a king may wield the royal sceptre, the very crux of his vaunted bloodline's magic, which made such a fine deterrent to war. One has to ask, them dead, who shall take the throne?
Who's there? I can feel you watching me from a place beyond my sight. Whoever you are, please tell me. Does our world pique your interest? Pardon my curiosity, but would you tell me your name? That is to say, tell me who you really are. The one who meets my eyes across a strange threshold. A most unusual name. One I've never heard in our world. Which suggests to me you might reside in a world beyond ours. It is a curious thing that in your eyes, my entire world is but the dawn of a story yet untold. Or to put it another way, this is a fantasy. But can it truly be dismissed as something so far removed from you? If indeed you wish to cross to our world for a time, I would first ask that you indulge one question. Is fantasy limited to the confines of imagination? Would you call it a powerless creation? More than wishful thinking, more than fiction. Something capable of affecting the realities beyond its bounds. This must be what you believe. I confess, my own answer still eludes me. But consider, if fantasy is born from hope, a desire to make the world better than it is, then that hope can be made manifest. Thus does change come, and thus is fantasy forged into a new reality. Perhaps the story about to unfold before you will tell us. I'm thoroughly invested now myself, so let this tale begin.
Hello everyone, Big Clinky here and welcome to Metaphor ReFantazio, a game by the minds behind the modern Shin Megami Tensei and Persona franchise, and the culmination of everything they have learned as artists, game designers, and composers. This game is, all at once, Persona 6, Digital Devil Saga 3, and an incredible new fantasy IP turn-based RPG. And if you're still on the fence after hearing all that, it also has an incredibly good and very generous demo. You have no reason not to check that out, and I will be reminding you throughout these early parts of when the demo ends, because it lasts way longer than you might think, and all your progress from it carries over to the full game. So, let's begin a new game. And now we choose our difficulty. This mostly affects how much damage enemies deal and take, along with how much damage you deal and take. And I'll show the exact multipliers of each mode on screen. These are all listed openly in this game's guidebook, which, if you love this game, I would actually recommend getting that. There's a lot of information in there, and it's way more accurate than the majority of written guides are these days. In fact, I learned some things from it that I never even found out online. But for now, I'm going to be choosing hard mode. I should mention, Regicide exists, and it has the following modifiers. However, it is only available on New Game Plus. In addition to all these multipliers, Regicide also does the same thing that Persona 5 Merciless does, where weakness and critical hits do triple damage. Technically they do double damage, but crits already had a 1.5 times damage multiplier, so it's triple the damage of a normal hit. However, unlike Persona 5, they actually fixed it and only you take triple damage. But this difficulty is still incredibly easy because you get to carry over all of your broken endgame equipment. So, yeah, I'm just gonna go with hard. Oh right, on hard mode, enemies get an extra press turn icon. That's, kind of important.
Looks like we're in the clear. The capital's just through this desert.
Is it true then? The king is dead? Aye, and the guards are more concerned with the funeral than keeping the roads safe. So now the monsters are roaming in broad daylight. No soldiers to stop them.
Monsters, huh? I've certainly been hearing the stories.
To say nothing of the vacant throne. There's a storm coming. Mark my words. That much is certain.
What's the problem?
They're bandits!
Come on, let's see some respect for the militia! Us folk, we're commoners! No crown or church will save us!
But Lord Luis will save us one and all. All we ask is a little tribute. You're with us or against us? And if you're against us...
An igniter? How'd they get one of those?
Come on, hey, keep it moving! Hurry it up! Next one! Huh? Look at you. What have we got here? He's an elder. So he is. No horns, no knife ears. Filthy gremlin like you. What you got in the capital? Oh, what's this? Looks like you've been holding out on us, boy. Hold it! Should have listened to us, chum. Now fall in line! Let's all get stuck like us!
What, like that?
You drew steel. I take it you are prepared to die by it.
Stand aside!
So it's not even Fire Emblem, and we're still dealing with bandits. I guess some things are universal constant in fantasy. In fact, this game is kind of a lot about universal constants in fantasy.
Ugh, this place already feels like a death trap. You hear all that stuff about Lord Louis saving us?
Something I also noticed is, despite them going on all about commoner liberation and all that, they were still racists.
Hey, you okay? You still got all your limbs attached?
Most of them.
Well, at least they didn't figure out our mission. Definitely could have gone worse.
What mission?
He speaks! It's a miracle! Yep, our protagonist is less a proxy for the player as is typical of Atlus games. You could tell that because they just asked you to give your own name at the start and specifically said you'd name the protagonist later. This guy is very clearly meant to be a distanced entity from the player, and that extends to them having actual voice acting too.
Come on, this is no time for jokes. You do know that if anyone finds out who we really are, it's all over, right? The mission's more important than either of our lives. If we screw this up, there's no going back.
Okay, yeah, that's good, but, like, what is the mission again? It helped to actually know that.
Think we'll make it?
And the voice acting budget ran out. No, don't worry, this game has an enormous voice acting budget, and as you can all tell by that early scene, a lot of UK-based voice actors, which, me being a Xenoblade fan, I obviously like. You might want to notice, though, that Gallica and the protagonist both have American accents, and usually in majorly UK-based dubs, that's often significant. Okay, so we want to get to a place we can see the whole area. We can move around, hold R2 to dash, and press circle to dodge enemy attacks. Gee, I wonder why we'd need to know that. It's not like we're about to get attacked in a few seconds. And we can also check on the minimap. So, welcome to our first region. Big, empty deserts. Metroid Prime 4 haters come at me, I guess. So, clearly we should head towards that objective, but, oh, what's that dust cloud on the ground? Oh look, it's a big intimidating sandworm. These look especially dangerous, but when has that ever stopped us? Video game tutorials don't know anything about how strong enemies really are, and in these games you can beat anything stronger than you with the right strategy, right? So yeah, we've got this. This is essentially, this is very similar to Persona 5, yeah, where I've forgotten what the mechanic is in Persona 5. It's like Thief. Third Eye, that's it. Yeah, very similar to Third Eye. Enemies who haven't confronted will show up as unknown.
Okay.
But again, I'm sure we can take this thing, right? Should be absolutely fine. Okay, we lost half our health in one hit there, but surely...
Tale end here?
No, it won't. So, I had to do that because in my initial stream of the demo, yeah, apparently there's a lot of...
I'm sorry. Everyone.
Did I just game over in the first, like, interactivity? That happened to me. And when I watched a friend of mine stream the game for the first time, that also happened to him. So, it's a rite of passage. And I had to do that here too. I also wanted to show off that death is actually not a hugely big deal in this game. It's very generous with autosave points. But that doesn't mean this game is easy. No, you will be seeing that screen a lot. Get used to fantasy dying. Fantasy is gonna have, there's gonna be, by the end of this playthrough, there's gonna be an entire graveyard full of fantasy headstones.
But you do remember what we're here to do, right?
Right. What am I doing again?
Oh, I don't know. The mission that's more important than our own lives?
Yeah, we got that, but what is it?
First, we get to the royal capital and get you enlisted as a guardsman at the army's recruitment center.
If we're enlisting as a guardsman, that means we're just gonna be cannon fodder who only exist to die horribly.
This could decide the fate of the whole country. We either do our jobs, or we die.
I mean, we've already died once, so I guess the only thing left is to do our jobs now.
And if it's all the same to you, I'd rather stay alive. So we've got to see this mission through.
I'd rather stay alive, unlike you 5 seconds ago.
Come on. We don't want the sun to go down on us in the wastes. Let's pull ourselves together and get back on the road. You know what they say. Anxiety breeds the world's cruelest monsters. I mean, fairies say that at least.
Yeah, fairies, people in real life who suffer from crippling OCD, like myself, and yes, OCD is very different to what you probably think it is. It is horrible, and I'm glad that I have therapy to help me through it.
I can at least cast my usual spell for you. It's the small comforts, right?
Do you have, like, a complete, like, anxiety-removing spell? Because I could really use that IRL. Well, she has a Summon Shoji Meguro OST spell, and that kind of is a cure for anxiety IRL.
Music was the first magic this world ever knew, after all. Makes the road a little easier. Look!
And the chanting in this song, by the way, is in Esperanto. This game uses Esperanto as its world language for multiple symbolic reasons that I'll have plenty of time to talk about, because this is probably going to be a long project.
Over there! Let's go.
I mean, at least there's a very clear road we can follow.
Got a set?
So, I might want to draw your attention to something here. The memorandum, that just updated. And in the memorandum, I think I actually have, wait, hang on. Please tell me that it... Okay, good. We only have things that we should know about at this point. My log did not carry over from New Game Plus. You might notice there's a completion percentage on this. There are actually missable memorandum entries. Don't really worry about it if you're going for achievements. There's no achievement for it. But I'm going to be trying to get all of the missable ones, which thankfully are outlined in the game's guidebook. But the one that I want to draw your attention to here is magic and music. An unusual variety of magic that cause the listener to become aware of their state of mind through the form of sound and music. As it is a modest form of magic with seemingly no utility on the battle... Tell that to how much Sonic gets hyped up by hearing undefeatable. It is considered a meaningless, trifling skill in society and thus rarely used. So, we're actually hearing the BGM in our head, in-universe, and that's a really cool concept.
Stay vigilant.
They basically said that this game would, like, redefine the fantasy genre, and that was a big ask, but already they're doing something surprisingly unique.
We found something.
And you'll notice even more as we go in. Like, for example, none of the traditional fantasy races are anywhere to be seen. We've got Elder, for whatever that is, and then we have somebody with pointy ears and people with horns, but they aren't identified as, like, elves or demons.
This land of 8 tribes and 3 nations, all blessed by the power of magic. The United Kingdom of Euchronia. The year is 785. Euchronia is shaken to the core by the sudden death of its king. Anxiety breeds dissent among the tribes. Disparities tear them apart. And no mortal mind remembers the heroic tales upon which their land was built. By this story of fantasy, may this faded world be painted anew.
Just look.
Welcome, one and all, to Racist Town! You will see why I call it that very, very shortly.
Get on with it, then! Drop the dog! Hang him dead! Please! I've done nothing wrong! Lying dog! Don't try to deny it! You trample the law for the fun of it!
Let it be known, for misuse of an igniter, you will hang by the neck until dead!
Yeah!
There's no way that crowd was going to listen to anything a Paribus said.
Such a shame. Might you spare some coin? Bless you. Oh,
careful!
Hurry!
Don't you have any street smarts? Come on, kid! Look, we're not tourists here. We gotta stay focused.
Right.
You noticed back on the wagon? You might be the only elder here, in the whole city even.
And considering how they treat the Paripus minority, that's, don't even want to think about that.
Capital's incredible. Just look at all the different tribes. You never see this kind of diversity out in the countryside.
I like how she also just noticed that one of those, street lamps is like hovering. So there are elements of kind of more modern-ish architecture here, but it's still very much a fantasy setting. It's just, it's a very unique world, and that is really cool to see. But I also love the fact that, like, Gallica's like, hey, stay focused, then she immediately gets distracted by pretty jewelry.
Not that it's very balanced. I see more Clamars and Roussants than anyone else.
So we are looking at Clamars and Roussants right now. The Roussants have long ears, the Clamars have the horns.
Which means a dopey elder kid's gonna stick out like a sore thumb. Try to keep your head down, okay?
For some reason, the phrasing dopey elder kid drove a bunch of people crazy on Twitter about the localization. I seriously just don't even.
Hey, did you hear what they're saying about His Majesty? They say it wasn't illness at all. I heard it was foul play, assassination.
Yeah, he died of an acute case of steel poisoning in his heart.
Shh, careful who hears you say that. But it's just like the prince, isn't it? They say he was attacked in the dead of night. A war of succession is coming, I tell you.
We've heard little rumors about what happened to the prince, but not a concrete story yet.
Sounds like monsters have been prowling the countryside. They're sending the guard out to deal with them. The army's really gone to hell. It's a far cry from when we had Count Luis at the helm, I'll tell you that much.
Hard to see how the nation can come back from this.
We'd not have to ask if the prince was still alive.
And we're about to find out now.
The king dead, his son stricken. Are there none left to bear the weight of the crown?
We've done all in our power, but not even the kingdom's best, the saint, could purify this affliction.
Over 10 years he has languished under this curse. How much longer can his body hold out?
It can't be the same guy. This voice sounds a lot like Azurda / Gramps from Xenoblade 2.
No doubt His Highness would protest. But since he cannot, we have no choice. For the man who cursed His Highness and murdered our king, there can be no mercy. I never thought I would have to ask this of you. But there are so few of us left now. There is no one else to turn to. Will you infiltrate the military to deliver a message to our contact there? This is your mission. For all our sakes, you cannot fail.
Well, that's a dramatic screen transition. Get used to it.
Hey, are you listening?
Oh, I was just having a flashback. It's a Protagonist thing. It happens.
Well, I guess I can't blame you for feeling nostalgic. You and the prince were pretty close. Anyway, getting to the capital was only the beginning. Now comes the real high-stakes part. You gotta go get enlisted, so you can meet up with our operative. Remember, nobody here knows who we are. Nobody here knows the prince might still have a claim to the throne. That means if we get busted, that's it. Nobody's gonna save us. Step 1. Let's figure out where the recruitment center is. Shouldn't be too hard, considering the need for soldiers.
And I've heard that most soldiers in the army suck right now, so surely we'll be better than whatever they can muster.
So?
Press R1 to open the local map. Oh, by the way, yeah, these are PlayStation controller settings, but I'm playing this on PC, but it's available on most major platforms right now, except as of recording this, Switch 2. I really hope one day you're watching this at a time where it is on Switch 2, because please bring Metaphor to Switch 2, Atlus. It really needs it. You can save anywhere that's not in a dungeon, essentially. So that's nice. And I'm going to make my file all the way to the bottom so you don't see the spoiler save files from my first playthrough. So, welcome again to Racist Town. This is the town where almost everybody is racist, especially this guy.
What do you think you're playing at?
Yep. Nobody here is going to treat us very nicely. And here's like a thing that I do like a lot about this game. When you walk around to most areas, also this world has horses, but they have very long ears. When you walk around most areas, you'll just get incidental dialogue, but the people who actually have things to say are clearly marked by either gossip or by actual speech bubbles.
That's not what I expected.
Julian, huh? A name we might want to remember for later. Of course, we can run by holding down the R2 button, which is going to help us get around. Gauntlet Runners. Well, we don't know. Well, actually, no, we wouldn't know what that is. Let's check the memorandum. Gauntlet Runner. Often called runners as shorthand, a general term for magic-powered, semi-automated vehicles designed for traversing the wastelands and either overcoming or circumventing local wildlife threats and magical phenomena. Traveling the wilds on foot or even in a lightly armed carriage has historically been incredibly dangerous, as we just found out the hard way, making any long-distance trips a life-threatening risk. Fun fact, these things were also designed by somebody who worked on Evangelion. They got some big names for this game, and it really shows. However, as cities and countries grew, so too did demand for resources, many of which required transport in large quantities. The Gauntlet Runners filled the niche of an armed, sturdy vehicle that could help with transport and land development. There are small runners, roughly the size of an armed carriage with a simple deck addition, but it's more common to see models that walk on legs, with an internal living area compared to a modest house. Yeah, sure would be nice to have one of those one day. Legs are more common in their design than wheels, partly because of their versatility on all manner of difficult terrain, but more so because adopting the remains and skeletons of large monsters as is more cost-effective and stronger than artificially creating all the components. So these things are actually made out of, like, bits of dead monsters? I didn't actually know that. Yeah, you don't need to read the guide, like the memorandum if you don't want to, but it's got some pretty cool, info. Well, I mean, that guy's moderately less racist than everyone else here, so I guess we take the small victories. Yep, even the people here are like, hey, you've come to Racist Town, everybody. We, in our coach tours, accept no responsibility from any damage you may incur due to racism. You waived all of those rights when you signed up for our tour. You should have read the fine print. Also, yes, if we stay still, we'll see a triangle icon on Gallica. She'll just give you some info on where to go. However, I will be trying to do this as much as possible because there's actually an achievement for talking to Gallica a bajillion times. And I didn't even get that in my first playthrough. So, I'm gonna try harder at that this time.
That's terribly unfair.
That's terribly unfair. but I wonder if there's a little more stock in that rumor than we might think. Yes, I know, I'm a racial minority. You don't see that every day, and that's something to gawk at, apparently, because this is racist town.
Oh God, grant me guidance.
Okay, so there's a church here and a religion where people call their god God. Given this is an Atlus game, that doesn't bode well at all.
The new model's out now.
That is completely the opposite side of the road that I was looking at, game.
I could be out there slinging spells like a master if I had one of those.
But clearly they just wanted to distract us from the concept of religion in an Atlus game.
I guess that's the big city for you. Everyone and their mother has a magic igniter. So many different types, too.
Even bandits have igniters these days.
Now I want one for myself.
Yeah, until you see the price tag.
Let me guess, there's a 2,000% markup if you are an elder.
Can't imagine what it's like having to wave around some shiny stick to use magic. Me? I can whip out magic anytime I like. And I can even see the magla in the air. Though, I'm not exactly an archmage.
I mean, you're not, but you can also make Shoji Meguro music, and that is the greatest magic of all.
Wonders never cease. A fairy and an elden child. Are you new to our fair city?
Hello there, woman with the portraits. You certainly won't be important later.
Well, I suggest you keep a low profile. Trust me when I say you don't want to catch the eyes of the lords and ladies.
We already know that.
But I'm getting ahead of myself. I run this humble shop. Are you in the market for an igniter?
Run now before she overcharges us.
Here's something that might catch a foreigner's eye. This is modeled after the royal sceptre and would make the perfect souvenir.
How much is it?
You're not really going to fall for that, are you? How would you even know what the royal scepter looks like to begin with?
Well, I mean, apparently we were BFFs with the prince, so it's possible he told us.
You've really never heard of it. Wow. Where do I even start?
A symbol and instrument of the crown's sovereignty. Passed down through generations. If you believe the legends, it houses incredible magic. World-shattering power.
And the top of it looks like a ribcage, which is worrying.
More practically, you might call it the world's most potent magic igniter. And in the king's hands, it was enough of a deterrent to stave off invasion.
We know that thanks to the earlier cutscene, but our protagonist didn't see that.
Now he's dead. With no living heir either.
Tragic, isn't it? Kingly magic is of little use without a king. You picked a bad time to visit, boy. I don't know why you're here, but there's trouble brewing.
Oh, I don't think I'll be here long.
Here's something interesting as well. Sometimes what the protagonist actually says is a little different to the implications you might get from just the dialogue options alone. And I also like this, because it again shows that he's his own person, not just some puppet parroting the player's thoughts.
A word of caution then. Your survival is your own responsibility.
One that we've already squandered. Whoops.
Well, that was unnecessarily ominous. She has a point, though. We'll need to be careful. Anyway, we don't have time to hang around chatting with the locals. We've got a recruitment office to find.
Let's head there.
Yes, let's head there. But we also have the Igniter shop marked on the map, which we can't afford, but it might be useful in the future to get ourselves some spellcasting ability.
You are.
... Well, being insulted is one thing, but being called a shite in an English accent is another thing entirely. Well, that's interesting. People are already concerned the church has too much power to begin with. And also, this nation has annexed countries in the past. That's also not a good sign. Though, to be honest, are you really surprised at this point? So, here we are in the Regolith Grand Cathedral area of town.
All right.
But yeah, the recruitment center is right up ahead. In fact, we can press... that's the wrong button, which is the map button. That's the map button, okay, yeah. I've been playing some other games with this controller lately. So yeah, we were previously at San Lumio Street, and now we're at the Regolith Grand Cathedral. There is a decent amount to see in this area. Mostly just gathering some more rumors about Luis the King and the Sanctus Church. The general power players in this region. Like Sanctifex Forden, who seems to be the leader of the church in an Atlus game. I'm sure he has a long and villainy-free life ahead of him. Ishkia are another one of the tribes. They have small vestigial wings that they don't really use for all that much these days. But they are stereotyped as being a very wise and intelligent tribe. Every tribe has their own stereotypes, like with most fantasy species.
That's wrong, though.
Gallagher is against fantasy species stereotyping, I guess. That was kind of a fitting interruption.
That must be the recruitment center. I'll let you take it from here. It should be pretty straightforward. Oh, and if they start asking questions, just be as honest as you can. Lying will only make us more suspicious. So long as you don't compromise the mission, you're fine.
So, we tell enough of the truth, but not enough that they figure out exactly who we are.
Good luck in there. Knock 'em dead.
Let's hope they don't knock us dead.
Okay, you got this.
A blue blood, are you? The army's no place for velvet-swaddled lordlings. Why are you here?
I'd be down for Prince Blueblood enlisting in the army, but that's probably not him.
Perhaps your noble family collapsed under its own weight. Is that it?
Lineage seems a strange measure for a soldier's word.
Oh, absolutely not him. No, it's instead the polar opposite on the scale of awesome nobles.
I'm looking to enlist. Is that enough for you or not?
An uppity one, aren't you? Fine, lordling. Welcome to the Guard, where it'll be your privilege to die screaming and bloody in service of your country.
So, okay, weird tangent time. I was chatting with somebody on Discord whose friends did a randomized playthrough of Fire Emblem Engage, and I do mean everything in the game randomized. Skill names, stat names, menu options, everything. Why I bring this up is this randomizer resulted in this tutorial message, which I think sums up this character to an absolute T.
But mark my words, war will turn your arrogance to piss. When your corpse is plucked from the mud, do try to look patriotic.
Well, I mean, when the people in town said the army has gone downhill, they were not kidding!
Rousing words, Captain. You think threats will buy loyalty? No wonder nobody respects the Guard anymore.
Although, you probably shouldn't be mouthing off to the people who are... I mean, this is essentially a job interview.
But I'm here now, so perhaps the kingdom isn't a lost cause.
Oh!
Insolent pup! You will learn your place.
Don't. The healers have enough on their plates already.
Be gone, and be thankful you're still in one piece. All right, next. Hurry it up. An elder? I thought your kind was long gone. Age 18. An orphan, too. The army can always use more of those.
Ah yes, orphans. Very convenient as protagonists in fantasy. But also, we are 18 years old, making us one of the oldest Atlus protagonists, which is kind of funny.
So, what brings you to enlist?
Now, this option here doesn't actually matter.
I just want to kill some time.
And a little kingdom-sponsored bloodshed will spice up your life, eh? I know your type. I suppose this work attracts degenerates.
Of which I certainly am not.
Are you crazy?
So, what can you bring to our beloved corps? Any skills to speak of?
This one is important. And to talk about why, let's go over our protagonist.
I have a few skills.
Our protagonist, whose name will be revealed in a moment, has these stats at level 99. These are a good indicator of what a party member should specialize in, but they look a little low. That's because the protagonist is special. Every time he levels up, you get one stat point that you can put anywhere you want, except HP or MP. With this, he's whatever you want him to be, but unlike some modern Shin Megami Tensei games, there is no way to respec stat points in Metaphor. Once you give a stat point, there's no going back. This isn't too much of a problem, as there are also ways to boost your stats outside of levels, and stats are also influenced by which archetype you have equipped, though we're not supposed to know about that mechanic yet, so I'll explain it later. Metaphor is also a game where archetypes, skills, and especially equipment can matter a lot more than raw stats, so don't stress too much about what build to use. But if you want some advice in that regard, it's more common to put all your points into one stat than it is to diversify. No other party member is able to be that min-maxed, and it's a useful niche for the protagonist to have. As for which of the 5 stats to focus on, this question in the recruitment center can help you with that. The protagonist starts with 5 points in all stats, but your answer to this question will give one stat a +2 and its opposite a -2, unless you pick I've always been lucky, in which case you get +4 luck but -1 everything else. While luck affects a lot of things like critical hit rate and item drop rate from enemies, I'll just say this right now, don't use a luck build. There's a mechanic that gives you a free point of luck every week, mostly invalidating the need to put points into that stat manually. As for the other stats, endurance affects physical and magic defense, while agility affects accuracy, evasion, and turn order mostly, but I overall don't find them as impactful as pumping an offensive stat. And there's no outright wrong choice here, especially since the protagonist's ultimate endgame skill scales off of whichever of strength or magic is higher. But here are, in my opinion, the pros and cons of the strength and magic builds. The biggest thing strength has going for it is Peerless Stone Cleaver. This is one of the most broken things in the game, able to 1 to 2 shot several bosses. It's available very early and is still good all the way up to the endgame. Speaking of good all the way up to endgame, that sums up the steady stream of physical archetypes you get. You've got Warrior and Brawler for the early game, Gunner for mid-game, and Berserker for late game. As the luck stat affects critical hits, a physical build is heavily benefited from the free luck points you get from the toilet. That is a true statement within the world of Metaphor, and it will all make sense later. An underrated aspect of physical builds, in my opinion, is a lot of enemies in this game have weaknesses to physical elements, mainly Pierce and Strike. So it's nice to have a protagonist who can hit those hard and give the party extra turns into the bargain. And if they don't, you can always use the Gunner archetype to make physical weaknesses. This kind of weakness generation is very powerful in this game, and it's available much earlier for physical than it is for magic. The downsides of going for a physical build, though, are mostly a lack of variety. Your early party members are very physically slanted, especially the first one, Stroll. And while having multiple characters in the same archetype is very good in this game, it does mean the Protagonist and Stroll will be competing with each other for good weapons. It also means you'll be lacking in good magic damage for a long time. And here we come to the biggest advantage of magic build Protag. You do not get a dedicated mage party member for a really long time in this game. So many like to go for a magic protagonist to give them more of a unique niche compared to the other early joiners. Magic will also give you a good spread of elemental coverage, and there are some strong early game magic archetype options like Mage and Healer. In the mid game you've got Commander, which can do solid damage and generate weaknesses, though in a more limited way than Gunner. And you do have a synthesis skill that's as strong as Peerless Stonecleaver in Meteor. But that's also in the cons. Meteor is ultimately, in my opinion, more awkward to set up than Peerless Stonecleaver, as Triple Warrior suits the early party stats a lot more than Triple Mage does. It also seems more common for early enemies to null fire than to null slash. And as I said in the strength build section, weakness generation for magic doesn't come online until at least mid-game. But perhaps the biggest flaw with the magic build is that the highest tiers of the mage archetype are locked behind a story-based bond that doesn't max out until nearly the end of the game. So you may be reliant on semi-magical archetypes like Seeker, Commander, and Masked Dancer in the mid-game. Overall, choose Strength if you want more consistent power, choose Magic if variety among party members matters more to you. So what will I be using for this playthrough? Well, it's really one of these two. And I feel like, as much as a lot of the top speedrunners do use strength builds, so it's a little cliche in that regard, a lot of more casual runs don't show off how good strength is enough, I feel, so I want to show it off here.
I'm stronger than I look.
With arms like that, you'd have to be. Right, last order of business. Make your mark or sign your name if you're actually literate.
I do actually like the world building here that not everybody who enlists for the army knows how to write. So now we enter the name of our story's protagonist, and as such I would have had to have danced around his name while recording the bio, but anyway, I'm going to be using his canon name, and that is Will. Every language has its own default name for the protagonist, and all of them are named after royalty or otherwise famous figures from cultural history of those regions.
You know your letters, do you? We'll get some use out of you yet. All right, lad. Welcome to the Guard.
Yes!
I'm sure you heard about the monster sightings, so stay sharp out there. We're short-handed as it is, so be a good lad and try not to get killed on your first deployment.
Yes, let's have a better survival rate than the Imperial Guard from Warhammer.
You can pick up your kit at reception. Standard issue guardsman armor and igniter. Kingdom property. So if you break it, it's coming out of your commission.
Which likely means we won't get paid for another 50,000 years if we do.
On your way now. Up to. Next.
Before we wait in line though, there's something that we can check out in here. Not in there. That's more racism. It's somewhere around here. I know that you can get this on your first visit to the recruitment center. There we go! Gold Beetle. You don't need to pick this up now, but it helps to, so you don't have to do it for later. Gold beetles are something that we can trade in for items much, much later in the story, and I am going to be going for all of them, and I do mean all of them. You don't actually have to collect them all to get all the achievements in this game, or all the items to trade in. And that's because there are a couple of them in permanently missable areas, which I will be pointing out. Oh, okay, so the local religion itself is also racist. Why am I not surprised? Are you really a noble? You seem oddly not a jerk. Well, like, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, right. Charismatic young general whose army is based on merit. I am already very worried. But yeah, now we have the option to join the queue. Alright, this game does have a calendar, but that's not going to be relevant for quite some time.
I heard they get sightings.
What? Of those huge monsters? You think that's why we're low on soldiers? Wish they'd have told us that.
I was about to wonder if that was Adam Howden. I know Adam Howden is in this game, and I know the major character that he does play, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was also some additional voices.
What do they call them? Something like,
Next! Another Clamar. Wait. No. You don't look like the others.
We probably shouldn't have left our fake Clamar horns at home.
Surely not. An elder? It's the first of your kind I've seen.
Move it. There's a priority around here. We're arming squires and children with igniters now. Waste of good gear.
Hey, I'll have you know I am 18, which is ancient for a JRPG protagonist.
It's better off in my hands. Give it here.
Brute force. Crude insults. The world is yours for the taking.
Care to say that again, boy?
We all have our reasons to enlist. Now get back in line.
Oh, another high and mighty Clamar, is it? You think your pretty words will measure up to pure Roussant strength?
So yeah, about tribal stereotypes, the long-eared tribe, the Roussant, are stereotyped as martial fighters, not as mages like in most fantasy.
Oh, forget the tribes. This is a matter of pride. Now, you owe us both an apology.
Come on, no fighting in the ranks.
That comes later.
Sorry for making a scene. You all right?
Thanks. You didn't have to do that.
Just felt like stepping in. Don't worry about it. Well, see you around. Try not to die out there.
Don't make my job any harder, please. Here, your igniter.
No, we actually did get one of these.
These days, most come with their own magna crystals. So with practice, anyone can use magic. To an extent, anyway. It's not the sort of thing you can master in a day. For now, newbies like you best focus on surviving. And take this too. Protect it with your life.
The map of the vicinity of the royal capital, because clearly that's the only place in this world that actually matters to you guys.
Wow, that's a real map. It's dangerous to even chart the wilds, but this is full of details. Only the military could pull this together.
Listen up, striplings. My name is Captain Klinger. And as of this moment, you miserable lot are under my command.
I hate that this guy's name is so close to my username, but I guess I'll just call him the Bad Klingy.
I'm sure you've all heard about our forces being tied up with the funeral proceedings for His Majesty. But if you think you're on cushy security detail, think again. First, you will be deployed to a fortress at the northern border, where you will be trained into true guards. Our veterans there will teach you the one thing you need to master if you're to survive. Hey.
Hey, I was joking about the fighting in the ranks coming later.
Perfect. That's exactly where our contacts hold up.
Enjoy tonight's sleep, because it's the last full night's rest you'll get. Dismissed!
Look at all the other recruits. They really are desperate for new blood. Oh, right. I know you don't know what our contact looks like yet, but he'll know you by your sword. He'll also know right away why we've come. And don't worry, I'll recognize him.
Yeah, because we have, like, amnesia about our mission.
Well, the charming captain is probably right. We should get some rest before tomorrow. Hey. You awake?
Nope, I'm asleep. Good night.
I love it when protagonists have sass.
Haha, very funny. Look, I just have a lot on my mind. Can't seem to fall asleep. I'd heard about what it was like in the capital, but still. When you hear and see all this prejudice out in the open, it's a lot. You okay?
It never gets easier.
Yeah, I could tell. Try to put it behind you, okay? Some people are even saying it's the lesser tribe's fault that the monsters are showing up at all. These are the same kind of people who burned down your village, remember?
Well, I mean, that's kind of an important detail to only just learn about now.
I'd rather not think about it.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. I'll drop it. The prince was kind to take you in. He cared more about who you were than what you were. I can see why you'd want to repay him. Oh, speaking of, he's the one who gave you that book, right? Can I see it?
Sure, I guess.
I gotta say, I've been curious. Thanks. It's what you call a fantasy story, right? So it's a fantasy world made up by the author. The prince loved those kinds of stories. Okay, let's see. It says the young traveler was amazed by the world he saw. In this world, there is only one tribe. All people accept each other, and no soul is born into discrimination. Wow. So not even any fairies? I guess less differences means less to argue over. In such a world, there is no need for sorcery. A megapolis is built through learning and labor. Towers of glass that reach the heavens. Safe nights with no dark shadows. Busy streets well traveled. And in the laws of these emotionally satisfied people, it reads, all lives are equal. Whoa. I see. No magic, no tribal conflict. And equality for all? It really does sound like a fantasy. But it's strange to feel envious of a fictional world.
And this fantasy/fictional world looks an awful lot like a modern-day metropolis, So that's the kind of core conceit and even satire of this game. To the people of this fantasy world, our modern-day world is the fantasy, the fiction, and also a perfect utopia with no discrimination and no problems whatsoever. And yes, this is intentionally meant to be really absurd.
Hey, are you asleep already? You know how hard it is for me to turn these pages on my own? Well, guess I'll just read more later. Good night.
Well, it's better than Witch Detective, I guess.